Hi, everybody. How are you? And welcome. Come on in. Would love to have you join us. I'm here with my good friend, Dr. Oleg Konovalov, and and he's a fellow member of the Marshall Goldsmith's 100 Coaches. I've gotten to know him, an amazingly powerful strategic brain. And Dr. Oleg, who are you? Explain who you are.
Uh, I'm a curious explorer. I am exploring something that is critical for people. Whether, my core area is vision leadership, but all that things begins or starts from within. You can't be a leader if you can't lead yourself. And therefore, I'm curious how I could improve. You know what I have noticed through the years? What's the difference between experienced fisherman and a beginner? What's the difference between mature leader, great leader, and a beginner? Mature
Mm,
people learn more. Beginners,
mm.
they're always an assumption. I have everything. I have my tackles, or I have my people, or I got my whatever diploma on something. I could do everything. Then they're getting a good punch in the face, and they start learning, oh, I need to do things differently. And that is immediately distinguished that the difference between the boys and men's, man's approach, just do those things. And therefore, I'm always learning. I'm curious to learn more and more and more. And in the 21st century, where we are idolizing AI, we can't learn from AI. AI is only showing what we know, but we could learn from the things that we tend to neglect, like nature, that real events, and therefore I'm learning all the time.
I so I heard you say what you said, and I wanted to take the opposite end and say no. I learn a lot from AI, but I thought I'd do the and. So give me a definition. What does learning mean to you?
Learning is is not about knowing facts. We all know a lot of facts. Man, spend a few hours on Wikipedia or AI or ChatGPT, and you believe that you are the smartest guy in the room, just something like that because you know a lot of facts. It's not learning, it's memorizing. And your brain will be full of dogmas, like heavy rocks and stones, and they wouldn't be shakable. Learning is about expanding your mindset, is understanding more and seeing what stands behind the events or how to connect those seemingly unconnectable dots. Because solutions, if you're a leader, you're responsible for solutions. Solutions are always far behind those seemingly obvious facts.
Hmm, interesting. And so I still believe that I can learn through AI, but maybe it's something different. Maybe I'm learning from me, but I have a co-creation partner that's supporting me on my learning.
Perfect. Brilliant. Mitchell, I totally agree with you. The slight difference is how much do we know about nature? Very little. How much do we know about human body? The processes in a human body? Not much. How much do we know about human brain? Ooh, just like to know fraction, small fraction. We when we believe that we know everything, we're not learning. And I think we're not exploring. And a good thing about, for instance, I'm a king fisherman. Water is always moody. You can't see through the water. What is there? It's a miracle. and we must understand it without those obvious signals. Can you imagine the fish with a jumping out of the water with a bright side, sideline? Oh, I am here, No, you must think. You must envision things in a great way. And therefore, you must learn. AI would share the facts with you. It works that, it works that. So it's more or less everything that we would download into it, you will get it as a response on your screen. But when you're facing real cases, you don't have that screen or answers. You're not having all the scenarios in life downloaded into your laptop. No chance.
So we're talking a little bit about experience and experiential learning.
Oh yeah, you must be an explorer. You must experiment. You know, I greatly admire a lesson from Marshall Goldsmith. In life, everything is an experiment. I love it because think, you're driving a certain model of a car. This car is a better version of the model that will come out next year. Everything we do is a better version of everything. Our conversation is a better version of our next conversation where we would reveal the things even further. Everything is a good experiment.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of experiments, then you've done many, including now this latest experiment.
Oh, I got similar one. Thank you. Hey,
you're welcome. Although,
Mitchell, thank you very much for reading it. Thank you.
You're welcome, and I need to see you again because I'm missing something really important. I'm missing your autograph right here. So
the same in my. I don't have any signature, but Mitchell, I promise you to have my signature with me when we meet next time. I will have.
Great. Tell me about it. What's I guess I'll leave it up to you, but it's the fisherman's path to leadership. That's probably not the first thing that comes to mind when you're thinking about leadership. So what got you interested in writing this book, and what would the reader get out of it?
Learning from nature is a journey, right? I have a strange, in a common modern sense, view that leader must be wise. Smartness for great leadership is far not enough. Leader must be wise. And here where we discussed about AI, we could learn from nature to be wiser. You can't learn from AI to be wiser. Facts doesn't make you, or knowing a lot of facts doesn't make you wise. But what happens when you're facing challenges, like going through this almost ideal storm, right, or falling through the ice in Arctic? You don't have a chance to tap on AI and say, hey, what should I do? I fall through the ice. It doesn't work. You must think how to go through the challenges, how to lead people through the challenges, how to be real and authentic. You can't be dishonest with the ocean. You can't be dishonest with nature. And therefore, you can't be dishonest with people that you are leading. You must be true. And how to learn it? It's not from the books. It's from real experience. When I was writing all those stories in the books, they are real. None of the stories were made up. They're all real. And actually, thanks to quite a few of my friends who insisted me to write this book, because I was thinking, right, that's my experience. And they, no, it's not about your stories. It's about what lessons you have gained out of those stories or events. And that is more difficult because majority of modern leaders have difficulty making conclusions. they tend to repeat the same mistake again and again because they don't have even probably a chance, or they're not thinking about it, to sit down and think what I have learned. What I have learned, don't know, losing the great fish. What I have learned meeting an exceptional person and having a great conversation around campfire. I have learned this. That makes me better. Otherwise, it's just watching the same movie for 20 times saying I love it, but if you're not, what this movie is about? Just nice. It doesn't work. You must learn. Mitchell,
What's your favorite story, by the way? In this book, I was trying to figure out. There's 224 lessons. Tell me a lesson that you're most excited about.
I can't say the favorite, right? But I would say that I split it in quite stages. The one that really made me better myself when I was facing Force 11 storm. When you go through such a storm for 48 hours, and if you're thinking about it, your approach to life is shifting ultimately, right? Because you learn how to be the storm yourself when facing other storms. And then after such a storm, you say, hey, I'm not afraid to do many things. And you're learning. You're learning to ignore small things like people are tapping, and therefore it would be another story about tiny devils, mosquitoes, people paying too much attention to them as analogy to problems. Those problems, mosquitoes, are around us all the time, 24/7, myriads of them. But you are looking for a solution, how to go through it. So more or less, every story is a lesson, and it's not just one lesson. You're gaining multiple lessons. Because realistically, it's about being good in challenging yourself. If you're good at challenging yourself, you could withstand any storm. And therefore, I've gained already quite a good reviews from people I really admire and people who I don't know at all. They're saying, hey, I feel like standing wet on a deck. Wow, cool. And for my own surprise, the book just been released and it's already under translation into Arabic by the largest Arabic publisher, Jarir.
Nice.
And by the largest Russian publisher, Ferber, MIF. And so people, and when I ask, how comes? Where is the fishing, Arctic, in Saudi Arabia? And there's, no, it's not about fishing. It's about wisdom. We love it.
Tell me a little bit about, thank you and congratulations, by the way.
Thank
Tell
you.
me a little bit about reliable simplicity.
And I got a good feeling that you would ask this question.
I wonder why.
When you make things simple, they become clear. When they're clear, they become reliable or credible. Mitchell, you are a great expert on credibility. Credibility is about that I will deliver my promises, that I would not fail and my people wouldn't fail. And it leads to other things because credible means confident. One of the great lessons I have learned, because the very basic of fishing is about how to tie knots. The mastery of fishing is how to tie less knots. Because every complication make your construct weak. It weakens whether it would be an execution, where it would be a logical flow. If it's too rigid because it's complicated, it may just like tangled, you can't scale it. you can't reshape it because it's already tangled. You must make things simple. I'll give you a simple instance. When I started salmon fishing, you're walking long distances along those Arctic rivers, and my backpack was so heavy with everything in it. And I was thinking, right, if I'll have everything, I will be successful. I was really just exhausted at the end of the trip because carrying that heavy backpack and not understanding what to use. Then I realized if I make things simple in terms of tackle, simple in terms of approach, simple in terms of how I'm approaching about myself, I'm becoming successful. And I understand what I do. And it seems to me fish is welcoming my fly. Takes it. Cool. The same in business. Don't make things complicated. Make things simple. Because complexity kills execution. Complexity, the most important, if I look through the terms of credibility, complexity kills understanding between people. And therefore, if you're too complicated, who will understand you? No credibility. You're just a noisy guy.
Well, by the way, you've really articulated something and pulled up. We haven't talked in a little bit. And so I thought I'd mention 7 months ago, I kind of had this massive aha moment where I realized that clarity comes before credibility.
Absolutely.
Which is, well, I know, but I've spent, a number of years deploying credibility. I'm like, I would do credibility first and clarity second. And then 7 months ago, I got clarity. And once I got clarity, I built 4 products in the last 7 months. And it was simply because of that lesson of simplicity. If you could clearly articulate who you are and how you show up. And it leads to the next question I had. And this was the next one. Talked a little bit about intuition.
We are humans. AI doesn't have intuition. We are humans. We have intuition. We don't know everything. We need to utilize our gut feeling. It tells us. It's like an angel that sits on your shoulder and says, man, don't go there. It's a trouble. And you're saying, no, I know everything. And you're in trouble. You're not turning back and saying, you were right. It's not like that. But intuition is a very critical thing for leaders because you don't have all the data that you wish to have. You don't have a data on a human feelings. You don't have a data on what could come up next. What could go wrong? You don't have it. And therefore, you must utilize your intuition as a great inner gyro that leads you that way or not. If as a leader, you're about to explore a new field or a new market or a new territory, you don't have enough information, but your intuition will serve you best if you listen to your intuition. In fishing, we went fishing in Iceland, and it's 2 great rivers coming together. Blanda, which is milky watercolor river, it comes from glaciers, and Svarta, because Svarta black river, because it's a black sand on the bottom of it from volcanoes. And it was a ford to cross it, and only few people know where to cross that river. And I used my intuition and I found that fort and I crossed that river. When a guide came, like in a couple of hours, and he saw me on the opposite side of the river, taking salmon after salmon, I said, how did you go there? I said, I noticed a stone on the opposite side of the river, and I thought, that's a flag. I should cross it here. And I crossed it. I said, man, only a handful of people know about that stone. I listen to my intuition.
I'm reading through these stories. There's one more I want you to share, and then I want you to talk about why any leader should read this. And so I'll save that. So I'm queuing that up. It's my third question on your story, which I love. This one is stupid competition.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
I by the way, the reason I asked this one is I'm going to share something first, and that is whenever something becomes democratized, i.e., anyone can do anything along the lines. And today, I would say thought leadership is democratized with AI. So anytime something has become democratized, you end up people doing really stupid business models. So I'm kind of curious your take and what you think about that.
Vanity Fair killed and kills a lot of great minds. You are not in competition with anyone. Mitchell, you're in a field of credibility. I'm only happy, in this sense, to support you and share what I know with you for you to become better. It's not about competition who got won, a badge or accolade or whatever. We are responsible for own fields in which we are acting. It's like people believe if they will start casting their fly into the sport where I'm already fishing and I got a feeling what's going on underwater, they will get a fish. No, it's not about this. You will get your flies tangled and everything will be in mess. Leadership is very much about collaboration rather than showing up, oh, I'm better. No, it's not about this. Leadership is judged by a result, not about showing who is better, who is worst. And therefore, showing I have a brighter badge doesn't make anyone a leader. It makes you just a competitor. Again, as I said, leadership begins from within. It's not about how to do, it's about how to be. I'm in competition with myself to be better every day, all the time. And therefore, this competition is invisible. That's a fight within me. But if I'm therefore, a great leader in the world must be greater than outer world. If you're looking for or searching for some kind of a justification from outside, that means your inner world is very small. You are looking for external approval.
Tell me why you think, let's ask that question. Why should a leader read this book? Why is it, of the many books on somebody's bookshelf, why should somebody actually pick this up? Besides it's fun and lots of fun stories, but what's the end product? What's the end result that someone will get?
If we look through the majority of business books, it's all about formal business cases. It's all about formal corporate things. Leadership is much broader, is much deeper. Business leadership and life leadership is nothing formal. And therefore, it's all about expanding your limits from learning from everything, from books, from nature, from streets. In this sense, what I'm offering in this book is a conversation that make a leader limitless. As soon as I'll put you into within those formal corporate boundaries, you will remain within those corporate boundaries. No, you must be greater.
I'm going to say, I like what you said. Tell me why, or tell me how. How in reading this book am I going to be, as a leader, limitless?
We're all facing storms. We're all facing losses. We're all facing different, not just losses, but call it bad experiments. Therefore, you could correlate all those stories to real life experiences that people facing in real life and learn from them. It's a matter how to apply, not just reading a fancy book, but it's about, hey, I have a similar experience, but it wasn't about fishing. It was about, a case when I started my business, or a case of facing severe competition or a market shift or something like that. It's all about applying real things. It's not it's about being a better human, deep thinking better human. Therefore, it's about how to be.
Yeah, I see it. I actually feel it too. It's interesting when you're in nature and you're around, you can you get out of the day-to-day of the quagmire of the leadership stuff, and there are lessons you could watch by how nature lives, how nature evolves.
The nature is smarter than us. We're trying to do our best to kill the nature, right? But in fact, think, humans pollute nature. Nature don't pollute us. And it still survives. Therefore, hey, stop it. Learn from it. Nature is not a resource. It is a source. It's a great source of learning, enjoyment, everything. You could learn a lot from it.
Nice. Oleg, is there a comment or thought that we haven't talked about yet? And clearly, by the way, folks, I'll make sure in the platforms this is streaming that I put a link to his book on Amazon. So this is the Fisherman's Path to Leadership.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Oleg, is there something we didn't talk about? Is there what sort of final comment would you like to leave us with?
I would emphasize two things. Limited thinking defines limited goals. But if you have a strong mindset that allows you to go through it, your learning, your goals always will be great and you will be much more successful, right? And the best lesson I have learned from fishing is a labor of love and leadership is a labor of love. Love and care are my best tackles to catch people's hearts and minds.
That's a great summary.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you sharing and getting a chance to read through your book and talk to you about it. So thanks so much. Pick it up at your virtual bookstore or physical bookstore if you end up making it. And Oleg, thanks so much. Thanks everyone for joining us. Spread some love, spread some cred dust. If you got something out of this interview, take the point that was valuable for you, or incorporate your nature story into your leadership journey.
One of the stories in the book called Brothers in Forks and Rods. We're catching together, we're learning from each other. If we're catching together, we're eating together. It's all about leadership. We're together.
Nice. Sir, thank you so much. Everyone else, have a great rest of the day. Take care, everyone. Bye.